Lord knows I want to be like Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Welcome, SuperHouse Podcast listeners. This is episode 120. Shoot dang. We done made it super far. In this episode, we'll be reviewing Ready Player One that came out this weekend, directed by Senor Spielbergo. This is Stefan, and as always, I'm joined by Andrew.
Hello.
And Maddie.
What up?
What's up, dudes?
What's going on?
You know, I'm ready for this ep, brah.
Heck yeah.
Welcome, SuperHouse Podcast listeners, to our review of Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One. Written by Zach Penn and Ernest Cline. Ernest Cline also wrote the novel. It's starring Ty Sheridan, Olivia Cook, Ben Mendelsohn, Lena Waithe, TJ Miller, Simon Pegg, and Mark Rylance. There will be spoilers, so do not listen to this if you haven't seen it. And I mean, I guess you've already spoiled it if you read the book, but yeah, if you don't want to ruin anything in the movie because stuff is different, and we're going to talk about it.
You're one of those sick freaks that likes to spoil movies before you see them. Then enjoy.
There's a special place in hell for you, sir.
Totally.
All right. So question number one. We start off with general thoughts, but not this time, because usually when something's based on some other film series or a novel, I like to know how familiar we all are with it. So I'm going to start off with Andrew. How familiar are you with the novel Ready Player One?
Will Wheaton read that book to me in its entirety about a year ago, I think. Is that when we even did a review of the book? It's the only book review we've done on SuperHouse. And I remembered a good bit of it. There are some things I kind of completely forgot, I think, but it was still in my memory pretty good. So it was kind of cool to actually read the book of the movie that you're seeing. So yeah, I guess that's all I got to say about that for now.
Stefan?
I also listened to the Will Wheaton audiobook about, I'd say, maybe a 14th of the way in. I always meant to finish it, but I don't know, I got bored of listening to it. Something about Will Wheaton's voice after a long while was really getting to me. I love the guy, but it was really getting to me. So I forget exactly. In the book, it was right after they got the first key after the joust match where I kind of like lost sight of it. So that's pretty much about it. And from on the surface, it always struck me as a ripoff of Snow Crash, which is a great book from '92, the last cyberpunk novel. If you don't know it, check it out. So I was kind of biased about it anyway.
Dang, well, I read it, but it's been like 3, maybe 4 years since I read that fucking book. So going in the movie, I was, I remembered things I really liked about the book. And so, yeah, I'm pretty familiar. And then I did some research for this podcast because that's what you do, right? So to refresh myself a little bit, so I can kind of lead this discussion. All right, we're going into the general thoughts. Andrew, general thoughts. Ready Player One.
I didn't think it was perfect, but I did think it was a very good movie overall. Good adaptation. I do remember some things, and I was like, oh, that's changed from the book. But I think it did capture the overall feel. And not perfect. I wouldn't call it lesser Spielberg either, but it's definitely not top tier Spielberg at the same time. So there's that. So that's my general thoughts.
Stefan?
I enjoyed it quite a bit. I felt like it moved along pretty good. Like Andrew said, I don't feel like it's perfect or like really super astounding or anything, but it was the first enjoyable Spielberg movie I'd seen in quite a long time. Actually, I missed his last two, so you can't count those. But I missed the last few, maybe.
BFG, man. Good reviews. No one saw it.
Yeah. I was like, no thanks.
Good reviews and Spielberg attached. Anyway, go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah. I didn't see Tintin either, which I always meant to see Tintin. Yeah. Overall, I felt like it was pretty good. I feel like if there was more stuff from the book that I was attached to and wasn't there or I didn't recognize, I would have been pissed. But since I was kind of ignorance is bliss on this one, I just sat back and enjoyed the ride, baby.
Sweet. I thought it was fun. I had a good time, but some stuff bugged me. And I'm just going to say it right now. Where the fuck was Rush at in that whole entire fucking movie?
I knew you were going to bring it up, dude, because that's all you talked about during the book review.
Yeah, that's the only scene I wanted was like the one song that they have to play to like figure out the final puzzle. And I was like, nah, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And they don't even play a Rush song. Like, yeah, there's posters and like H is wearing a t-shirt. I get it. But you couldn't even, out of all the fucking nostalgia songs you put in there, you couldn't add one Rush song. You can put it in the fucking trailer, Spielberg. Come the fuck on.
Right.
That's all I wanted. I just wanted one Rush song or some reference, like more than just a poster on the wall from 2112. Come on, man.
Right.
Like there's really no, like, it irked me. It's the one thing I wanted, just, I don't know. Just, that was like my biggest like letdown of the movie. I do think some things that they did change worked way better in the film version than they do in the book. Just basically because the book is like an 70s, 80s ode. And I was like, you can't like, yeah, you can throw those references, but some of those references are so obscure. It's like, I get why they didn't put Rush in, but at the same time, let's garner in that new generation of Rush fans. Come on. The only way you're going to do is with the Spielberg film, right? But yeah, I mean, I had fun watching it. It hit all those like Spielberg notes that I enjoy watching. It's definitely not like one of my fave Spielbergs, but it's up there. And I think it's probably because I enjoyed the book a lot. I'm not saying that book is a masterpiece, but it's really fucking fun if you like love 80s stuff or really into like 70s, 80s television shows or music. So it's a really fun read. And I felt like the movie was trying to do that, but also give the newer generation of kids something to latch on to, which sometimes I think, fuck you, new generation. Dang. All right, cool. All right, so we're getting into the questions now. So we're gonna start off with Parzival, Wade Watts, thoughts on the character design and the acting from Ty Sheridan. What'd you guys think?
Are we going with me? Same order?
Yeah, Andrew.
Okay, so again, I would say overall good. The what's the guy's name playing him?
Ty Sheridan.
Yeah, he was good. He kind of had like the nerdy look, but still could carry like the lead really well and all that. And his character design in the Oasis, I thought was pretty good too. I think what was just like the kind of weak about him was his like character arc stuff was like not set up. The setup was a little bit like not super well. Like he mentions being poor almost in passing, and then it's like, is he trying to make money to get out of the stacks? Like what's his overall goal here? You don't really know from the get-go really, unless you've read the book. Like I don't think it's really explained all too well. And then he also has, is he trying to save his aunt and kick her boyfriend out? It just kind of feels like all that kind of stuff was sort of kind of not handled as well for someone that's as experienced as Spielberg is. And like this, the fighting scenes between the aunt and her boyfriend were kind of like not great. I felt. I mean, I did kind of feel something whenever the stacks blew up and shit, but I don't know, man. It just kind of felt like that kind of thing could have been handled a little better, I guess. But you do kind of, maybe they were going for the angle where they don't really tell you in the beginning. It's just kind of, you just got to figure it out as you go. And the movie is sort of fast paced. So I kind of get it, but still there's something a little bit not as strong there as it could have been with Wade Watts.
I thought he looked pretty good. There's going to be the argument that he wasn't like a fat kid in the movie that he was in the book. But I think for sake of like just moving past certain things and kind of like making him a young, handsome-ish kid, just kind of like they just kind of swept that detail to the side.
In the book, he works out though. At some point, like
which Maddie told me, but then I'm like glad it didn't work that way because that would have been a huge waste of time. I think just to even consider it. So it was like whatever. It did look like this is the same kid who plays. What other movies has he been in? He plays Cyclops, right?
Yeah,
that's right. It looks to me in this movie like they did something to his face. Like something about his face is really odd to me in this movie, and it seemed like they kind of like maybe he just put on a little bit of weight to like chub him up the tiniest bit or something.
Yeah,
but he looked weird to me.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and then his in-game or the Oasis character I thought could have been a little better with but they made him kind of look like Cloud Strife or something. I guess he was all right. He was cool. I liked all those like digitized tattoo designs and stuff and all the patterns, which I could in my mind's eye I could see when you're creating your character and stuff, like running through all those different patterns overlaid on the skin and stuff. And I was like, it was cool. I felt like it was a good love letter to like gamers and stuff. So I was down with Parzival. I like that name too. That shit's tight.
Yeah. Sweet. Yeah. I was kind of iffy when he first shows up in the Oasis in his avatar skin. I was like, I don't know if I can watch this. This is I don't know. And then I just kind of was like, all right, this is like what he would choose. And I was just like, I think one of my roommates was like, oh, it's kind of weird and kind of looks like Final Fantasy. And I was like, yeah, dude, well, and your Bloodborne character is like an old fucking man and you're not. So he's like, true. Yeah, okay. I'll let that slide. So I think it's funny, like, to think about how I would design a character if I was in the Oasis. And I was like, oh, so this is like the way he sees himself as a perfect, human or whatever, or how they would, So I thought it was cool after I saw it more and more. And like, once the action started, I was like, okay, I get it. I thought Ty Sheridan was pretty cool. I agree with Stefan with the whole, like, maybe he put on a little weight, maybe just to be like, oh, okay, so I'm not super skinny kid, playing a video game.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought he did a fairly good job. I wish he would have been a little stronger. I'm kind of in what Andrew was saying about not really getting like the family life or like, because I remember when I read the book and the stacks are blown up, I was like, holy shit. Oh my God, they're going to murder people. And I felt like when the stacks blew up, I was like, okay, come on, let's get on. I want to get on the next quest. It's like, let's move it along. Cause I didn't really care about anyone. Cause I remember there's when he goes down the rope in the movie, he talks to that old lady. And I remember them having more of a relationship in the book than like his aunt, than he has with his aunt. And I remember when that stacks blew up, I was like, oh my God, that old lady's gone. It's like his best friend. Besides in the Oasis, that's like his one human contact, someone who's nice to him. And you didn't really get that, which I feel like Spielberg is really good at doing that kind of stuff. So I assume to turn a 385-page book into a 2-hour and however many minutes a movie it is, you got to sacrifice some stuff to get the story rolling. So, okay, Spielberg, I get it. Sometimes I want that connection. But yeah, I mean, I think he did a good job. I mean, when they cast him, I was like, okay, I can see him as Wade. That's cool. All right, guys, we're moving on. We're going to the first quest, which is the quest for the copper key.
All right.
I'm not done yet.
Okay.
I got some questions for you.
All right.
So, did you like that it was a race everyone knew about, or did you like in a book where no one knew really what was going on? There was just a weird clue that Parzival figures out that it used to be an old D&D map, because that was one of Halliday's like favorite maps in D&D or whatever. So commence, Andrew.
Honestly, I kind of forgot everything about that in the book. I mean, the thing is with this, and I'm going to get into this a little bit later, but I like one of the very minor gripes again. I like the movie a lot, but I think that they were just in the fucking curator area a bit too much. And I know they're trying to figure out stuff as far as the trying to find the keys and whatnot, but it just kind of
the world.
It kind of like slowed the otherwise fast pace down of the movie. But anyway, I mean, honestly, even though if it was changed, I still liked it. It lended itself to great action, and it just seemed like Spielberg wanted to just have a race with fucking. You put all the toys in the toy box in there, and you got King Kong and a Jurassic Park dinosaur in one scene, and then all the famous cars and all that. I mean, and then him figuring out to go backwards, that was, I mean, I thought that was cool. It was good enough, I think. I don't know. I mean, I just didn't remember anything about that from the book. So,
Sweet.
yeah.
Stefan.
I would have preferred to have seen the D&D map. I really liked the joust battle at the beginning of the book, that he had with like the death kind of like looking character, whatever they had to play, like the demonic character, or whatever. I forgot exactly what it was. And I thought it would have been a really cool opportunity to have, like, instead of like a giant race, just like this joust battle that was really action packed with like huge effects and stuff. So I was kind of expecting that, but I also see why they started with the race and did it the way they did. It just keeps it exciting and kicks it right off as a spectacle. And if you saw it in 3D, I bet that was orgasmic.
Yeah, that's one I would have considered.
Yes, I did.
So I really enjoyed it. The only part I didn't like about the race is like when he figured out, oh, you have to go backwards sometimes, and he starts driving backwards. Like a part of me kind of is like cool with it because I'm like, oh, okay, like I can't think of anything better really. But at the same time, I was just like, dang. I was thinking, like, I hope somebody actually wins the race if he's going backwards. I hope he doesn't win the race but gets the key. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, you don't get all the points and stuff for winning that race, but you still got the key, and that's a huge prize unto itself. But then he like wins the race too, and I'm like, oh, so it's like it's kind of like a rigged race. Like nobody's ever gonna win it. And then I was telling Maddie when we were talking about it, like Halliday must have just hated racing games. It's like any racing enthusiast in the Oasis to play this big giant race and never wins, only to find out that it's like not even really a real race. It's just to get the key by going backwards. I'd be fucking pissed.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's other racing games in the Oasis then, I guess. I mean, there is.
There's something for everyone, but I guess if you're designing your own game and you hated that kind of style of game, then it would probably be pretty easy to win. But I don't know. I was kind of let down because I kind of wanted like the dungeons, like I wanted more of the mystery to unfold, and that's what I liked about the book so much was, you were kind of on this adventure with him and you were trying to figure out like what you'd read previously would help Parzival, figure out the clue, or, it was just more of like a mystery, and I felt like, I mean, obviously, like I get it. It's got to be amped up. It's got to be more action packed, like the book is kind of slow paced. And I mean, I thought it was pretty exciting, but I get movies you got to amp it up a little bit, especially for a Spielberg film that, looks like it's all based on video games and like current culture of video games, and everything's fast and everything's extravagant now. So I guess I get it. I was a little let down. I just thought it was pretty easy key to get. But I understand later on when they go look for, which we'll talk about, when they go look for the J key, why they decided not to do two kinds. So each map is very different from the previous quest or whatever. So, like, I get it, why they did it. I was just, when I was watching, I was like, come on, really? Like, him finding the D&D map and the under the school and blah, that was so cool. And, like, you got to see, like, this D&D world come to life, and, like, a Spielberg movie would be dope because you'd be like, oh, this is how good it could be, So I was kind of excited to see that. But, I mean, they had a race, so that's what I get. It's cool seeing the bike from Akira.
Yeah.
I don't remember if there's any other vehicles in it besides like the DeLorean and stuff.
Batmobile, Adam West Batmobile.
Yeah,
that was funny.
But I don't remember. It was cool to see Bigfoot. I thought that was pretty sweet because I remember watching that as a kid with my dad, like monster truck shit. Yeah, so I really like that. I was trying to think of anything else. I love that because I remember they released that trailer where the T-Rex from Jurassic Park shows up. And I was like, dang. Spielberg's putting everything in this movie. Yeah. And I thought that was cool. And I loved the whole like Kong race at the end. I thought it was pretty sweet, probably pretty terrifying to play because the Oasis, I mean, you're wearing a suit that you can feel shit. I don't want King Kong coming after me. Yeah. But I mean, like in hindsight, I enjoyed it because of the next quest that came after it. But I was a little let down by it. So, all right, moving on. We're going to talk about Artemis Samantha, played by Olivia Cooke. Andrew, go ahead. Tell me your thoughts on character design, acting, anything that bugged you or you liked about it, or you were just like, fuck that girl, she's the worst.
I liked her overall. Yeah, she was good. I mean, again, this is, the cast usually isn't really the problem with the movie, even if it's a movie that you don't like. But yeah, she was good. And I mean, her character design too, I mean, I didn't really have a problem with that either. It's fine. I don't have much to say about that, but I'd say the only weird part for me that kind of stood out, two things. When they're talking on the roof, whenever they first found each other in the real world, it's like they're too close already, and he like starts to caress her chin, like they've just met off the internet, and she's allowing it. That was just creepy for me, and it was just like, is it supposed to be creepy for her, or is she like already fallen for him, and she just lets him do that to her chin? I just thought that was very weird. It just came off strange to me. And then what else do I have? Oh yeah, her caring about her scar in that scene. It's just like it almost is kind of silly. It's like maybe you did whenever you were a little kid, but just seemed like they were a little bit too old to be. Because I mean, she looks fine otherwise. It's just get over it. And plus, yeah, I don't know, man. It's just like it just seemed kind of silly to me that she would care about that scar so much. That's one thing I would have liked them to take not use from the book. But other than that, she was cool, strong woman character, and she's figuring that shit out on her own. And she also, was cool with the whole team. So yeah, I'm down with Artemis.
Stefan,
I didn't at first like her look as much. I was like, that's what they settled on, like, I don't know, basically she wasn't my type when I saw her. but
as the CG character, or
okay, the CG character, like her look, I was just like, I don't know, I think it could have been cooler, and just how I pictured her from the book was a little different. At first I didn't like it so much until she was in that red dress, and I have no shame in admitting that I'm attracted to cartoon CGI characters. She looked good in that.
Girl Bugs Bunny from Space Jam? Wait, do you like the girl Bugs Bunny from Space Jam?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
It's getting weird on this podcast.
All right.
Let's get weird. But after a while I came around, and the characterization, the motion capture, and the actress who played her was like she was really good. She was engaging to watch. I actually liked watching the CGI version of her character a little more than the actual live action version of her, but she's a really good actress. I liked, she looked cute with the little birthmark on her face, and she was a badass too. I like how she was like helped spearheading this like revolution against IOI.
Yeah. Sweet. I'm just going to comment on Andrew's like the birthmark on her face. Mm-hmm. I mean, I liked because, it's a character trait from the book. And I mean, if you're crushing on someone on the internet and they don't know that you have a fucking facial birthmark, that can be pretty triggering, dude. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes with that. I mean, for a while I didn't like wearing glasses when I was younger because people made fun of me for it. And now it's just like, whatever. It's just, I just wear glasses now. I'm older. But it's like, these people exist in an oasis for like 90% of their life, dude. So they can be anyone, look anyway. And like to be, I think to meet someone and then just be let down if you care for them, or you're just like, oh man, maybe this could be something. That could be a big thing, man. And maybe someone turned her down because of that facial mark earlier that she met in another story that we're never going to hear. Just saying, didn't have a problem with any of that. I mean, I do think it was kind of weird that he did touch her right away, but she did do all that sexual shit before when he had his like cool suit on, when she's like, can you feel this? Can you feel that? So
that's
it's like,
true, actually, yeah, I agree.
So, and like no one else was touching him. So it's not like everyone like touches in the Oasis. I mean, I'm sure he got high fives from H and whatever, but besides that, I love Olivia Cooke. She's in Bates Motel. Her character is really cool, and I really like that her and Norman's relationship in that show. So I was really glad to see her in something that wasn't like based off like a horror movie or anything. So it was cool to like see her in more of a prominent role, not like a minor character. But yeah, I thought she did really good. And I was kind of like Stefan with the character design. I was like, I don't know, but I think it's all just preference at a point. I wonder if like Spielberg was like, hey, here's like 10 designs. Which one do you relate to being Wade? Or, if she actually chose that and it wasn't just some, designer being like, well, this is what I would do. I hope that maybe they like got to sit down and look at several designs, or kind of maybe be like, oh, this is the kind of character I'd like to play as in this kind of world. Because that'd be dope. It's kind of like when Lucas was like, hey, Samuel L. Jackson, pick out your lightsaber. Like I hope it was kind of like that's how they decided like what the characters would look like, and then they tweak them a little bit, you know. Or I'm sure if Spielberg was like, man, I'm not into that, like how about we use this one or this one, you know. But I hope that they had a little say in like how their, you know, avatars looked in the movie.
Right.
So, and I'm sure there's like a lot of design people that had like a lot to say, but I hope that was the case. And if that is the case for a character, yeah, I mean, it works. And I feel like you got to be comfortable when you're doing motion capture and stuff. You know, you probably have to look at that character a lot. And so that's cool. Yeah, I liked Artemis. I thought she was badass. One of my favorite scenes with Artemis is when she's in Sorrento's chair and they do that, like they walk in and they do that whole like pan of her like escaping. I was like, this is pretty dope.
Yeah.
I got really nervous. I was like, oh my God, she's going to get found out. She just got out. No. But I thought that was really well directed and just a cool scene of her doing like some real life action. Because like in this movie, you're seeing a lot of stuff happening in the Oasis. And we all, you know what can happen in the Oasis? Anything. You can do anything. So it's kind of cool to see this, like, kind of some of the stuff that happens with Sorrento towards the end, just being, you know, having to do real world stuff. I always like that in movies that are like pretty CG or take place in another world, you know, where one character doesn't have the superpower but has to do something cool and like heroic. So I thought that scene was really cool with her in it. All right, cool. That's my 2 cents on Artemis. All right, we're going to quest number 2, the quest for the Jade Key. So in this one, they do kind of like what they did in the book, except in the book, it's like a war game. They have to replay through war games of the movie, which I love that fucking movie. And when I read that, I was like, oh my God, I love this movie so much. This is so exciting. And there's like a Blade Runner reference because they have to like figure something out on like it's the fucking device that he uses to tell if the guy's to tell if he's a robot in the beginning. They like use that machine. I forget like the specifics of how that actual scene lays out, but there's like a Blade Runner reference and there's the war games. And then in the movie, they do The Shining, which I'm just going to cut in here real quick, which I thought was amazing. It blew my fucking mind. Andrew, go ahead.
Yeah, that was one thing I noticed when I was watching. It's like, oh, this is what was supposed to be war games. All right, I get you. I thought this was one of the better changes actually from the book.
Agreed.
Because in the book, it's mainly about can the guy recite all the lines exactly right, and it didn't really lend itself to being an awesome action scene. So they replaced that with The Shining, so you get a little bit of action, a little bit of horror, all thrown in there, and I thought that was cool. And I mean, really, I don't really have much to say about this one. I think that it was a good change. It makes sense going from medium to medium. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you get like all the like tropes from that movie. You got the twins and the topiary, or no, that's maybe from the book. The fucking the outside part where they're running away, the maze. Yeah, the maze, and then a big ass axe as well, and then dancing zombies and all that. So, which weren't in The Shining, as they say in the movie. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was good. Good change.
Sweet, Stefan.
Cool. Hey, can we pause real quick? I got to take a shit.
Okay.
Sure. How long is this going to take?
Oh, hungover. It won't take long. It'll take like 5 minutes. I'll be right back.
Quick shitter, bro.
Yeah. I'm going to... Anyway, I'll be right back. Sorry.
Just leave the audio on. I want to hear the grunts.
Yeah, please.
For final thoughts, Andrew, I think I'm going to do final thoughts and then say, if there were any references you liked, let's discuss those, like Battletoads or Spawn.
Okay.
Because I didn't really this review is kind of hard because so much fucking shit's in it.
Yeah.
For like nostalgia stuff. So if we want to final thoughts could be like our ooh, what did we notice? What were the cool character avatars or throwback to our childhood that we liked? I mean, I do talk about the final battle, so I guess we could discuss some of those scenes there too. But if there's anything that we want to discuss, like a reference that if we don't get to, just bring that up in final thoughts.
All right, I got it already ready. I've got all my notes here. It's a good idea.
Sweet. Yeah, because I feel like it's just so much happened in that movie. I was like, God damn it, I feel like I'm bypassing a lot, but it's sometimes these reviews just have to be super, just like to the point, I feel.
Yeah. I noticed a lot. They used a lot of Overwatch. Tracer's in that a lot, and a few other Overwatch people.
Yeah.
I guess Spielberg likes Overwatch or something, and that's also like a modern reference that the kiddies will enjoy. So
yeah, I
so
mean,
whatever, it's all good. A lot of old stuff for us as well.
I got a Chucky bomb in it, which was pretty sweet. Did not see that coming. I thought it was just going to be on Planet Doom when he like kills Freddy.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, this is how Chucky will show up or whatever. And then he did, and I was like, Chucky's in the trailer though, so where the fuck? And then she's like, throw this little guy, and I was like, oh shit, this is Chucky. But
yeah.
I love fucking seeing Spawn run out in the fucking daylight.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
I will say I'm kind of let down by McFarlane's idea now about keeping Spawn in the shadows, because Spawn looked pretty fucking dope running on that battlefield.
Spawn is a great look, and yeah, I think McFarlane's fucking crazy, but we'll see, man. I mean, you never know what's going to happen with that movie. They're going to be filming that soon, I think.
Yeah, I mean, with Blumhouse like helping him, I mean, it's going to become a reality for sure. It's just, I hope it's not like as Jaws as, I mean, I hope at least like if it is like Jaws, that like at the end we finally get like a huge awesome reveal of Spawn.
Yeah.
And I hope it's like we do get some, like, I don't know if I want the Violator till like the second movie or something, but I hope he does fight some sort of demon thing. Like, I hope it's not just a bunch of cops or like, you know, just drug dealers or some shit that he has to take out. Or
you ever seen the serial child rapist that he killed? It's a fairly famous panel from Spawn.
Yeah, I mean, that would be cool.
He made I made him scream and scream and scream, that whole thing.
Yeah, he's the ice cream guy.
Yeah, that dude. I would enjoy that.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Sorry about that. I got a little drunk at my friend's birthday party last night, and it's left my guts in a shambles.
Okay.
That's the cold open, dude.
All right.
That's gotta be the cold open. Sweet. Stefan, I was just telling Andrew that like if we skip anything that like a reference that you can't bring up within the questions, just in your final thoughts, just be like, cool, I liked it, but I want to talk about this for a second.
Okay.
Because I do a thing with the final battle, but you know, there's a lot of shit that's dropped in this movie that I was like, oh, I want to talk, because when I was playing this, I was like, I want to talk about this and this and this scene and this scene. And I was like, oh my God, I cannot break this down scene by fucking scene, dude.
Yeah.
This is going to be too much, and it's going to be exhausting.
All right, if I think of something.
Cool. I just keep it in mind. So we're on to your quest for the Jade Key, the differences between like the War Games movie and Shining. So I really liked the War Games part of the Jade Key quest in the book. But when they're in the curator's lounge and they're like, oh, we figured out that he took his date to see The Shining, I was like, oh, this is pretty dope. Look at those VHS copies. I'm loving this shit. I was like, they're not going to recreate The Shining, are they? There's like no way. There's going to be something else. And then when they fucking go down in that door and they open the door and they walk down the fucking stairs and the typewriter was there, dude, I lost my fucking shit. Thought it was amazing. I couldn't wait to see. I love that H was afraid of horror movies and had never seen The Shining, and they gave him shit for that. And I thought that was really awesome. I just like that they recreated a bunch of stuff, and I like just of seeing The Shining so many times. I knew all the beats that were going to happen, and I was like, oh my God, I can't imagine what this is like for people who have not seen this, but seeing it in Ready Player One, which I don't know if that's a good way to see The Shining. But maybe it'll get a lot of more people to see that. And I loved it too, because I know Spielberg's like a huge Kubrick fan. That's why he made AI. And I just, you know, after when I was watching, I was like, it makes sense that he would choose a Kubrick movie to do instead of like War Games, you know. And I think, like you were saying, it's really great because it is a horror. It's a horror quest. There's a lot of references to horror people. Like when you first meet H, it's out there killing Freddy Krueger, and Jason Voorhees has a spot. And so I was like, oh, this is pretty dope. And I loved every scene of it. It's probably my favorite part of the entire fucking movie is the Jade Key quest. I love that Artemis figures it out, because I think she actually does figure out the second quest in the book.
Yes,
so I thought that was cool. They kept that.
Yes.
And I like that, you know, they kind of got booted out of it for the little final part of it. I just think following through that movie with H was kind of maybe my first experience too. Like, no, like,
Right.
And then like the one part where the naked woman, she's like doing the Jack Nicholson. I will say though, and Stefan and I talked about this, about I kind of wanted to see Jack Nicholson, but then when they didn't, I was like, thank God, because I don't know how that would look and to be cartoony, and I don't know if I want to see Jack Nicholson that way as Jack Torrance. But I thought everything they did do was great. I love that, like in the hedge maze becomes kind of like an action video game kind of thing, and it almost reminded me a little bit of like, Dark Souls and kind of Bloodborne with all the axe and like the big witch and whatever. And I was like, this is pretty cool, man. I want to play this game. But yeah, I love that. I think that was probably one of my favorite like changes from the book to the movie, and I think it worked so much better than like having to watch a guy recite the fucking War Games movie, which I love War Games, but that'd be kind of boring to watch and slow down the pace of the film quite a lot.
Yeah.
So I think for the better part, because I know Ernest Cline was part of the script writing. So, I mean, they all had to make sacrifices. And I think, when he wrote that book to where it is now for this film, stuff did need to change,
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to change stuff because, as a writer, I think you write what you know and what you love, and it's going to come across on the page, and people are going to receive that really well. But with a movie, you're hitting a broader audience, and you have to, you kind of got to do stuff for the audience, So yeah, I thought that was awesome. Loved it. All right, cool. So the next one up is we got H, Helen, we got Sho, and Daito, or like the round out our whatever they called the.
Oh man, I know what you're talking about. The hot top five, the high five, or something.
The high five, I think is what it's called. So what were your thoughts on? We'll just start with H, Helen first.
Yeah, she was good. I mean, going in reading the book, that was much of a bigger turn in the book than it was in the movie. Like her reveal, and knowing that casting and like hearing the voice, it was a little bit odd. Just to hear like her deeper voice and everything. And there's also like social commentary in the book about, it's hard even in the year 2045 or whatever for a black woman to make any money. So that's why I am this white man in the Oasis. Yeah. So they kind of skipped down on that, which I thought was a little weird, but whatever. What's her name? Lena Waithe?
Yes.
She was good, man. I mean, nothing really. I like that she's like really loves the Iron Giant and that she doesn't like horror movies, and that was cool. I mean, I don't really have much to say about her. I thought she was just a really good supporting character. She was done really well. I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, he initially was pretty cool. I wish the character design on H was better. It seemed like it was like a knockoff villain from Gears of War or something, like, and that's probably what they were going for. But I feel like the design could have been snappier, poppier somehow. I love that actress. She was in Atlanta. She's really funny. I mean, she's okay funny. I don't really love her. She's good. She's got a new show coming out called The Chi about Chicago. That's supposed to be kind of like, it's supposed to be good. It looks good.
Cool.
But yeah, she was decent. I like that spin. I like that turn that they put on it, and like how, she wasn't who you expected her to be, and she was a good supporting character overall.
Yeah, I really liked H. I totally like it. I was just like trying to figure out what they were gonna do next, and I think all the Shining stuff kind of threw me for a loop. And then like I'd totally forgotten that it was like who that actress was playing in the movie, and I was like, oh yeah, when did she show up? And about the time I started thinking about it, she reveals herself as H, and I was like, oh my god, I totally fucking forgot. This was not on my radar. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I thought the character design was fine. I liked that we had like a creature, like an orc, big goblin dude instead of, everyone's kind of humanoid, and I liked that it didn't really fit her, like, the way she looked. I liked that, because sometimes it's kind of cool to design a character. You're like, I look nothing like this. Like I was thinking about my Skyrim character, and he's like a lizard dude, and I was like, sometimes it's fun to play as those characters, and I liked that they included that, and I also liked in going back to the J Key, I like when the witch, the zombie lady was trying to stab her, and she was like moving her body around through the innards. So I thought that like each character had some like really cool. I like that character, and I like that her introduction is her shooting Freddy Krueger. So I'm playing in this like Doom-like level where the final battle takes place. But I thought it was a good introduction. I like that she's really good at modding and can fix stuff, and she gets paid pretty high dollar to do that. So that was a cool way to add in like modifications and stuff. And like maybe this is why people have these really cool fucking characters, because someone's like, hey, make this for me. But I liked her. So Andrew, we're gonna go to show now.
Can we combine these, because these guys are kind of a team anyway in the thing, just for time's sake and all that. So Sho and Daito. So Sho, his reveal as a little kid, hilarious. That kid was great. He seemed to have kind of a Chinese accent, Chinese American, maybe in the movie. But I was at the panel at WonderCon for this movie, and the kid is full-on American, no accent whatsoever. So it was interesting to hear him have kind of an accent in the movie. Daito, played by, I think his name is Win Morisaki. He is he's said he was born in the Philippines, I think, but he's raised in Japan, and he's a Japanese actor, and it was cool to see him like kind of being a stereotype, but kind of a lovable stereotype. And also those kind of dudes do kind of exist sometimes in Japan. Like the way he was like bowing instead of shaking a hand in that one scene. It's a really funny comedic beat. And I mean, I can totally see a Japanese dude choosing a Gundam as his the main avatar he wants to do in the final battle as well. So there's that. And I mean, basically Spielberg got to play with Mechagodzilla fighting Gundam, and that was fucking incredible. And the Japanese line, like, I choose Gundam or whatever, that shit was hilarious. It played really well. His samurai armor was great. The ninja armor was really good on show. They were also a great supporting cast. Honestly, could have done with more of them. And just like Maddie's favorite scene was Rush, and that was cut out completely. My favorite scene in the book in the book, it kind of plays to sort of a character arc kind of thing with Wade, in that he's becoming more selfless, and he gives him a major item. He gives Daito a major item, this Ultraman item, and he's like. And also kind of plays to appropriation, maybe too, like cultural appropriation. Instead of him becoming Ultraman, he's like, he says in the book, this is Japan's greatest superhero. You being Japanese, you should be Ultraman. So it's a very like heartwarming kind of scene. My favorite scene in the book, honestly. And so it was changed a bit. They took out the whole like him giving them the item. It seemed like Daito just already had the Gundam. So fine, whatever. But at the end of the day, we got a Gundam fight scene with Mechagodzilla. Some of my favorite characters, from Japanese pop culture. So awesome to see them in one scene, and him like kind of doing like a fucking like meditation before battle type of thing, also to kind of build the tension as well. I think that played really well too. So loved them. Could have done more with them. So that's all I got to say about them.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Daito dies in the book.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of
person dies.
Yeah, they throw him off of his out of his apartment, so it looks like the Sixers throw him out of a window to make it look like a suicide. And aren't they're brothers in the book too, and they're not brothers in the movie.
Oh, right, that's right.
So they did change a lot of stuff. I just want to point that out there for people who have not read the book and are just watching the movie. I think it was a good change that they kept Daito alive. I mean, obviously, because he has a cool fucking moment in the final battle. So
I also felt like that was kind of a samurai thing where I know it's getting stereotypical here, but it's kind of like he's rushing towards death. Like his final attack is going to be a big one. He doesn't care if he dies or not. And doesn't his avatar die in that scene?
Yeah, he loses it. He goes back to like zero or whatever.
Yeah, I think I think it's kind of like feeding off a bit of samurai lore and samurai history to a degree in that scene, which is perfectly fine. I welcome that. It was just interesting, you know.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Stefan, go ahead.
I liked them both too. Agree with Andrew. There could have been a little bit more of them. I loved Show's design, the character design for the most part. I liked the legs that they were like like
weird
wolf legs or something, like dog legs or something. Like he was real springy, and I could have done with a lot more like ninja action. That's for sure. They were both cool. They were good supporting characters. I dig the samurai and the ninja backup and stuff. Like, what's cooler than that? The reveal that he was a little kid was really cool. The kid was funny. It was all good. Like, those are the moments when I'm usually like, oh man, all right, here, this is gonna suck. This is gonna be a cringy line or something like that. But it was like smooth sailing, and they were both really good. I liked both of the kids. The kid who played Daito he had like a cool moment when he introduced himself to what's her face, the main girl. Artemis, yeah. When he introduced her in the real world, he's like, "You know me as Daito" or whatever, and he gives her that smile.
Oh yeah.
Pulls her in the truck. That was really funny. I liked that moment. So yeah, they were cool, man. And his Gundam moment, when that happened, I was like, "This is so cool!" Like, just like if I was zapped into that moment out of context of the rest of the movie and just watching that, I would have the same emotional kind of response.
I feel like every I wouldn't say every, but like most of the Japanese otaku culture, when they see this movie, they're going to be like, "Thank you, Mr. Spielberg, for this moment."
Well, hey, we got already, the summer movie season is just beginning. We've got 2 Gundam references in popular films right now.
Yep, that's true.
It's coming.
Gundam's coming, man.
Yeah, man. Gundam's coming to the States somehow. I feel it.
Cool.
But hell yeah.
Yeah, I love Sho and Daito. I'm with Andrew and Stefan. Could have used more of them. I felt like the friendship was a little too fast. I feel like it took a little longer to convince them to join in the book. And I think it's only, and so I would like a little more of that. I do like that we get to see them early on like the Mount Doom thing. Like he's there, like H helps them, or she helps them take out some dudes so they don't zero out on that final battle for the item that they're searching for. But yeah, one of my favorite lines from Sho is Artemis comes up and she's like, "Sho," and she goes in for a hug and goes, "Ninjas don't hug."
yeah, that's right.
It's like such an 11-year-old little kid thing. He's like, because he's almost on the cusp of like, I like girls, but I don't know yet. And I just thought it played really well. I also really like their teamwork scene when Finale, which we'll talk about the villains here in a second, jumps into the back of the moving bus and he does some sweet ass kung fu real quick, and then Sho, being 11 years old, is like, "Oh, I'm just gonna throw this fucking fire extinguisher at her." And it was really cool and really well done, because I know like sometimes in those scenes it can get a little messy, and you're like, how do you like figure out how to make this action scene work well? But I thought it was really well done. It wasn't super long, short and sweet. Love that. Character designs, I love both the character designs. Thought they were awesome. I'm with Stefan. I could have used some more cool ninja action, or just them fighting in their avatars normally. Also with Andrew on him meditating, I was like, what the fuck is he doing, man? Like, it's not going well for them. Things are getting pretty rough. And then when he calls out the Gundam, and I was like, all right, I get it. All right, I'm in. Show me this. I'm ready for this fight. Like, I was giddy with anticipation to see this fight. All right, so we're going to move on to our villains now. Because when I was writing all this down, I was like, cool, all right, we'll just 10 questions, this will be it. And then I was like, oh shit, I didn't talk about Sorrento or IROC or Finale, which they play a huge part in this movie, so we have to talk about it, right? Mm-hmm. So Andrew, thoughts on Sorrento?
Okay, so Sorrento, right?
Sorrento. Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So man, Ben Mendelsohn, the way he plays villains, it's like, that is, if you look up sniveling in the dictionary, I feel like his picture is there. It's just like he plays that. That word comes to me every time I see him, man. Yeah. That's him, and he's a great villain. I mean, I know he's being typecast, but he's getting paid like fucking crazy. He's in Star Wars and Spielberg movies and all kinds of shit. So whatever, it's cool. He was in Dark Knight Returns, Rises. I mean,
Yeah.
You think money has power over me? And then Bane puts a fucking hand on his shoulder.
Yeah.
That shit was fucking brutal. Anyway, I don't really have any complaints about Mendelsohn. I mean, of course, he's a great villain. His character design, it's a little plain, but then again, I feel like maybe that was almost kind of the point too, because I feel like Mendelsohn just wouldn't be that creative of a guy being so corporate,
Yeah, that's what I was saying to Stefan.
Yeah. So I think that's also kind of part of it. So, so yeah, that's all I got to say about Mendelsohn. Good. I mean, yeah, great. IROC. So this guy was added from the book, right?
He is in it, but is like, oh god, I fucking read about it earlier. He is in it, and he just kind of watches and is like he's not like the badass he kind of is in the movie. He's just kind of like a sniveling like guy that just kind of is there to like pick up the the remains of whatever's happened. He's like not a super good gamer, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
And I can't remember a lot about him because I was getting Ogden Marsh and IROC kind of confused.
Yeah.
Just because of my like reading the book and it being several years, I was like, wait, what the fuck? Like, because I remember someone coming in and helping them at a certain point, and I thought it was IROC, but I guess not. But yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a huge fan of TJ Miller. He's hilarious on Silicon Valley, and I thought all of his humor really, really worked for me. Maybe some people think he's not that funny, but I think he's hilarious. And his design, it was okay. I felt like it was like almost too badass for how funny he is, but maybe that's what they were going for. But yeah, he was his lines were so funny that I kind of just let it go, and him having the whole like magic spell orb thing too was pretty cool. He's kind of like the arms dealer for Sorrento, so that was cool. That was good enough. We never see him in the real world either, so that was interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if there was stuff cut from that. And then Finale, is she in the fucking book? I don't remember her at all.
I don't remember. I think he just has the Sixers do everything, like his little like task force outside of the real world. I don't know. They might have added her. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember her at all, but it just seems like maybe they were like, all right, let's add this character in for somebody, for Sorrento to kind of play off of and have like an underling, like a top underling. And if that's the case, then it was a good change. I mean, it was fine. Maybe they're adding too many characters, but at least it didn't feel overcrowded too much. But it's kind of felt like, I honestly can't remember exactly because it's been since Friday night since I've seen this movie. But does she make a turn? She seemed like she was about to make a turn against. She was going to switch sides. She kind of felt like to me like she could have switched sides and turned against Sorrento at some point. Did that happen?
Nah.
Oh, okay.
I think she was just, there's like that punch at the end where she punches him because he's saying something to her, and I think she's just upset that they got caught.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyways, I just don't know how much to say about her either. I don't know. She's fine. She was okay.
Cool. Stefan.
Yeah, I really liked Sorrento. I love Ben Mendelsohn. He's like a joy to watch. That dude's a badass. I felt like my favorite scene with him is when he was introducing himself to Parzival, and Parzival was a hologram, and they were having that discussion where he's like, I'm just a gamer like you. Yeah, I'm a businessman and blah, blah. Like, he had me convinced. I was just like, damn, like, go join his side. He's a good guy, really, deep down, But it was just like such a good performance, and he did really well with what he had, He would almost be a dream recast of the bad guy in RoboCop, like if they ever... I know they rebooted that, but in my fantasy world, they did a better version with Ben Mendelsohn as the villain.
Nice, yeah.
Even though I like that one a little bit. But anyway, Ben Mendelsohn was great as Sorrento. I thought the character design, me and Maddie were talking about this, I thought the character design was just a little too plain for like a big budget movie. And the logic behind it, I get, but it's like you still have the tools and ability to kind of spice it up for your film just a little bit. So it was just a little too plain for me, and I get like kind of he wouldn't have been like the most creative and stuff like that, but it just wasn't fun to look at that character. I thought it would have been cool if they used like popular game, different game clothing, maybe like licensed out some different costumes from different games, and he would like be like switching his costume a lot. Would have kind of also lent to that, like he's trying all these different things out, and I don't know, just was an idea. But overall, I was just kind of like thought it was like a lackluster presentation of what could have been something a little more interesting. IROC was cool. Totally get his kind of design. He's kind of like the Mountain Dude up gamer who's like, all about, he picks the very basic, like most rudest features for his creative character and shit, and like even his gun had like those shiny skulls on it and stuff, and it was just like, he's like one of those, not to single anybody out or alienate anybody, but like one of those lower class kind of type of gamers that you can imagine, just picking people you run into on Call of Duty and shit with like some dumb call sign or every time they kill you. Or
His name is IROC, by the way.
Yeah, IROC, like he's a bro gamer, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Totally get it. Thought it was cool. TJ Miller's perfect for that type of role. And his comedic beats were pretty good. Like I like TJ Miller quite a bit too, from Silicon Valley. And Deadpool and everything. So
oh yeah.
He's good. He's leaving Silicon Valley this next season. He won't be in it, and
it's already started, by the way, dude.
Oh, has it?
Apparently, because no one likes working. Okay, no one likes working with him because he doesn't like working there.
Yeah. So. That's pretty much what he said. He's kind of he's from Colorado, and I've seen him at a couple live events and stuff, and he's kind of a douche.
He gets into fights a lot. I heard he talks about getting into fights.
He's a real broy, like mouthy shit talker type of guy, and he's turned some good performances that I really like, but I feel like to hang out with him in real life would probably be not so much fun.
Yeah, for sure.
But in this character, he was cool. It totally worked. I never felt like he was completely like useless or whatever. I liked how he showed the interest as a gamer when he was talking about like the cute or the sphere of whatever. He made the Sixer like turn around so he could put the spell on the sphere. I thought was cool because he was acting like all like a powerful dark wizard and shit. It was cool.
Sweet. And what'd you think of Finale?
She's gorgeous. She was in the first Kingsman film, I think, as the
girl with the blade legs.
Yeah. She was badass. Yeah, she's cool. She was also the female alien character from Star Trek Beyond, which she did a really awesome job as that character.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yeah, I wish she had more to work with in this film because she's a pretty decent actress. They kind of just like wrote her off as a, just like the henchwoman. They probably just got a lot out of her attractiveness and her like really kind of like striking appearance. Those bangs and everything. Her eyes are like amazing. But yeah, she was cool. I like that moment where I like that it never got really too dark for any of the villain characters, even though they killed a whole bunch of people in the stacks. Like that was probably the darkest moment.
Yeah,
but I like how there was still comedy, like when she punched him in the throat at the end, and then later when Sorrento, or before that when Sorrento approaches the van and is confronting them at gunpoint. But he's holding the egg, and he can see it through the Oasis VR headset, and like the glow is coming out of it and everything. And he had that little smile. It was cool. It kind of wrapped itself up in like an Encyclopedia Brown kind of way, where they just haul him off to jail instead of like him falling into some like pit of fire or off a building, some smoke or something. You know what I mean? Like it was cool that that was the very Spielbergy ness to me. So yeah, as far as the villains, they were pretty good. They're pretty enjoyable to watch overall.
Cool. I love Ben Mendelsohn and everything. So I loved him in this. I loved his fake teeth and how it just like looked uncomfortable, but it's like because his teeth don't normally look like that. And I feel like it was part of the character he was playing to look as perfect because he's heading this big corporation or whatever. But yeah, I thought he was great. I loved his avatar and the Oasis. I thought it fit his personality perfectly. Did not see him throwing out Mechagodzilla though. That was, I mean, it was dope, but didn't see it coming. Yeah, that dude's a powerhouse, man. I like watching him in everything. I mean, he is getting kind of typecast, but he just has that look, man. He's just a good fucking villain.
Yep, pretty much.
And I think this is probably one of, like you guys were saying, like he is this villain is kind of, he doesn't even do anything, besides saying, okay, go do that thing and blowing up the stacks. It's like he can be kind of a redeemable character. Like when they do that flashback and you see him bringing him coffee. Yeah. I was like, oh, he used to be good at some point, but he's always had that like business mentality when he's talking to Halliday. But yeah, man, I watch Ben Mendelsohn in anything. He could just be talking to me just on a white background, just saying stuff. And I'd be like, this movie's amazing. Yeah, I thought that was amazing. I loved every part of that. The scene that Stefan brought up too, thought that was great. I loved, because it had me convinced too. And I was like, no, this guy's the bad guy. He hates all this shit. But there for a split second, I was like, oh, I kind of want to hang out with Ben Mendelsohn. He likes video games.
Yeah.
IROC, I just didn't care for, man. I thought he could. I honestly think Finale should have been the IROC character. Yeah. And they could have just cut out all that bullshit, and she could have just had her own avatar in the Oasis and also been the henchman in the real world. So she does what she, basically what IROC was supposed to do. And that's why I was wondering if he had like a bigger part in the book that I couldn't remember. Because I was like, and it seems like they cut him out a little bit if he had a bigger part. And I honestly wonder if, like, because of all the accusations that are coming out about certain actors, comedians, if they cut any scenes of him actually in his gear and they just left him the Avatar character just because. Because I remember there being something like, is Deadpool 2 going to cut out TJ Miller stuff? And then they're like, no, fuck no, we're not going to do that. So I wonder if Spielberg and team were like, nah, we can keep this in. We'll just cut out his other shit. I could have, I just, because Artemis looked up how to read the spell and it just seemed like anybody could have done it. He didn't have any special knowledge. He just had he says it. He's like, I got 10 years worth of stuff I've collected, before the bomb, before they before the bomb goes off that takes everyone back to zero and zeroes out their characters. I could have just, I didn't think any of the jokes were that good. I honestly didn't need any of them. And I thought Finale would have been a cooler to give her more to do. I thought maybe some of the action scenes with that, with the IROC character could have been cooler, but that's my taste. I like the design except for the skull. I just don't like seeing through things on a character. It just looks weird. And I don't know if that's just my mind tries to wrap around where an organ system would be or something. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. It's a video game. Calm down. But I just kind of hated seeing through the skull. But I like the top part of him. I thought that was pretty dope looking character. That kind of bugged me. But all right, we're moving on, guys. That's the next one. We're talking about Quest for the Crystal Key, and we're going to combine this because it all kind of goes together with the final battle scene. Did you think the quest, the final test was a fairly easy one, or did you were you just like, that's cool because there's a battle going on, I don't need all this stuff to be happening?
Andrew. All right, so my turn. This was interesting because this is another huge change from the book, because the book, the whole premise of the Oasis and the hunt for the Easter eggs is based on the first Easter egg in Adventure for Atari 2600, and that's how they set up the whole thing in the book. It's first chapter, first paragraph, basically. So then they introduce Adventure kind of way in the third act, and also these people are supposed to be Halliday experts and all this, and they know everything about these games, but they don't put the Easter egg hunt with the first Easter egg, that whole thing. They don't put two and two together with the Easter egg in the actual Adventure game. That just felt a little off to me. They should have found that out faster. They should have been going through all those games. I know that they're like pressed for time and they're in a big like hurry and all that, but still, that I think that was a little bit weird. And but at the same time, the good part about this though is that I do like them kind of like I did like that it was there. I just wish they should have figured it out faster. And I also liked they kind of shoehorned this in the last second, and it got a soup kind of schmaltzy. But then again, like I've said on this podcast many times, I am kind of a sap, and them talking about it's about the journey, not the destination, and all that, and they kind of throwing that in with the ideas of adventure. I was really into that. I like that idea. I like that they brought that up. That was pretty cool. My only problem was that it didn't like. If they were going to do that, it should have been kind of more of a part of the rest of the movie thematically than just shoehorning that whole thing in at the very end. They just mentioned like it's about the journey, not the destination, like at the end. So it's just like, all right. But then you have the final fight, and we all knew this was going to be. We all kind of we all knew that we were going to get something similar to this, right? So I thought it was great. Seeing all the characters there, and again, you got Mechagodzilla and Gundam. That was kind of the highlight of that whole thing. And then the extra life part as well. That was from the book, I think, and that I thought that was cool. Good times. I had a good time with that. So I think that's all I got to say about the third act there.
Stefan.
Yeah, I didn't have too much of an issue with any of it. I liked him playing the adventure game in there at the end, and even like the little fight scene he had with Sorrento prior to getting to play the game and everything, when he like blew up that bomb and then he gets the extra life. That was cool.
Yeah.
It was. I'm not sure exactly what happens in the book, whether it's a more difficult quest or not, but it all wrapped itself up pretty nicely. I felt like one thing that really was bugging me, and I know it was kind of for effect, was when Halliday was looking for the egg and talking and stuff. Because the movie was just moving so fast up until that point. It's like a screeching halt in that bedroom where he's getting the egg. And then for him to slowly like, oh, where did I put it? Like, it was funny for a second, but I was like, find the fucking egg.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was really bothering me. And then he finally got it. And like that whole sequence just took like really way too long. But I still enjoyed it. He kept the child version of himself in the room playing games endlessly forever and stuff. And it was like, it was cool. And it kind of spoke to like the loneliness maybe of some gamers and like the beauty of what it is to be a gamer, and like the worlds that your imagination is able to blossom in, you know what I mean? Like just the love of games, like it reduced it down to like a nice syrupy, sappy moment that was very delicious. Thank you, Spielbergo.
I thought the quest was great. I really like when Wade is showing everyone through the feed of how to get basically how to do that in adventure. So if you wanted to do it yourself, you could go do it, And I thought that was really fun. I liked him just explaining about finding the developer, the guy who designed Adventure was like, he thought it was a work of art. It wasn't just a job. And I really liked that whole monologue that he was talking about. Final Battle's dope. There's Spawn. There's fucking Battletoads.
Yeah, Battletoads.
The turtles do show up, but the new shitty designs, which I was like, God damn it, Spielberg, give us a fucking 90s turtles. God damn it. Do anything.
Yeah.
I I'm not a huge Halo fan, but I loved Halo Reach. I like that, he kind of threw in a little bit of everything for everyone. I like that they would show that people were doing this shit on the streets. Like when the team of Halo guys are running down the street and they flashes back to the Oasis. They were at them trying to take down one of the spider mech things. Loved the Iron Giant in it. Thought it was great. Thought Iron Giant was going down when it was on fire. I was like, I've already seen this movie. I don't want to cry again. And then my favorite scene in the final battle scene was when they look down, the Iron Giant's going down. It's like, oh shit, T2 reference. Oh,
yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Loved
thumbs
it.
up for listeners.
Got it as a little teary eyed. I was like, oh, I remember that. So sad. Yeah, I was like, oh my god, I love it. It just brought back so much. I remember being really upset when Arnold died in T2 is when I first saw it. I was like they just lived together forever.
Yeah, the Terminator animated series comes out right after that, and it's like fish out of water shit.
Yeah,
that's what I'm missing in my life.
Yeah, but yeah, I thought all the stuff leading up to the end. I loved. We're going to talk about Halliday and Ogden Marsh here in a second, but I loved it. I agree with Stefan. It was a little slow, and I don't know why he couldn't find the egg, but I still thought it was part of the test. He was still getting a feel for Wade. Just making sure the kid has got the, his head is on correct to take over the Oasis and what that means. And I think I liked it because it gave us a little bit of Halliday and like who he was. And, I thought it was good, man. It was definitely pulling those like Spielberg heartstrings. That's like a Spielberg moment. That whole scene right there is like Spielberg has to do that in his movies. But yeah, man, I thought the ending was good. I don't have much complaints about it. All right. So since we got to Halliday and Ogden Morrow, sorry. What'd you think, Andrew? Actors, Simon Pegg and Mark, what is his name? God damn it. Mark Rylance or Relance, however you say his name.
Probably Rylance. Yeah, I thought they were great. The thing that I this is another thing maybe I forgot from the book, but I don't remember ever getting that like funny eccentricity from Halliday in the book. And was that like a change? Because I liked it a lot. I thought he was fucking hilarious and how weird and eccentric he was. But I just don't remember. That seems like a choice made by Spielberg and that actor.
Well, I don't think there's like a lot of flashbacky stuff in the book about I don't think you get like the scenes of him being his true self. It's just like a lot of because the only way you meet him is like his avatar.
Anorak.
So you don't really like meet Halliday, I don't think, until the end. And it's more, I don't even know if that Halliday scene exists in it.
Yeah, and all the curator scenes and all that. I don't remember much of that from the book.
No, the curator stuff isn't because Ogden Morrow is an avatar they meet, and he doesn't give him like the 1-up coin. But he does help them in the dance scene in the movie. In the book, that scene happens. And the reason they survive it is because of Ogden Morrow, but they don't know because he has a call name and they don't figure it out. It's him until like later on, like in the final battle of the book thing or the final test too. But I can't remember specifics. Like I said, it's been a really long time since I read it. So
yeah. Well, anyway, I did like the choice. I thought he was really hilarious, and what was great too is that he still had that kind of weird, funny eccentricity, even as like this all-powerful, mighty-looking Anorak, which really played really well. And with Ogden Morrow, I did really like him. What little we saw of him, he's always good, and him saying good choice when Wade Watts chooses to split it up amongst the team. That's a fucking really great, quick but great scene. Like that quite a bit. And this is maybe we have to put a pin in this for the final thoughts or something, but they ask him are you an avatar? Are you really playing? What are you? And he doesn't answer the question.
Yeah.
It's like, what is he supposed to be? I know it's probably a way for the creator to live in his creation forever. It's a way that he achieved immortality, I would assume.
Yeah.
I assume it's some kind of auto-driven avatar or something for Halliday, but I wonder, is there another way to read that? Is it supposed to be ambiguous? I wasn't really sure, but yeah, it was. Those were great characters.
Stefan?
I thought they were good. I thought the guy who played Halliday was especially good. He was just really fun to watch. He was just a really heartwarming kind of character, gave a really good performance. I forget what I've seen that actor in as well, but I really like him. And I could have used a lot more Simon Pegg somehow.
That character does a lot more in the book, but you don't know who he is until the end.
Okay, yeah. It would have been, I get that. It's just would have been nice to see a little more of him. But it would have given away everything. Basically, Cat would have been out of the bag if you saw him more, especially as in his role as the curator, which I thought was cool. And again, I really love him flipping him the quarter. That whole thing was really great.
Yeah.
But overall, I feel like a lot of the emotional core of the film had to do with Halliday and his when that line he says that he's like, I'm not a businessman or something, I'm a dreamer or something like that. I was like, hell yeah, man, more power to you. Represent for all the dreamers out there. He just really was like a feel good character. So yeah, I really enjoyed Halliday.
Yeah, the guy who plays Halliday, I thought was fucking amazing as that character. I could have watched a movie about them just fucking making the Oasis and never seeing the actual Ready Player One movie. Because I thought Simon Pegg was great. I just wanted more of that relationship of like, companies being torn apart because someone's a little more business savvy or wants certain things just for the better of the company, maybe for the worse. I really liked, the flashback scenes I thought were well done. I was definitely could use more Simon Pegg because I remember his character having a bit more to do in the book. So I was like, oh, when's this character coming about? But then after I think the final curator scene, I was just like, things started moving forward to the finale. And I was like, I don't think we're going to get the Og character in this. So, all right, well, and then I totally forgot about Simon Pegg at that point. And then when he shows up and opens the truck doors, I was like, oh shit, this is great. Because you just you lose track. So much is happening in this movie. It's hard to keep track of like certain things and like pay attention, like be like, was this the book? Was this not in the book? But yeah, I love both those dudes. And God, it's like, I wanted like I don't know if you guys have seen Halt and Catch Fire, but it's basically that whole like, the beginnings of like companies and like building things, and it's like the troubles that go with it and having families and like dating people you work with, and but it's also got like this crazy computer knowledge. And I was like, oh, I want to watch the Halliday and Morrow show right now. It sounds interesting. Yeah, I loved it. I like that Mark Rylance guy. I don't know what else I've seen him in, and I didn't know who he was in the makeup and stuff in the trailer. But I think he might have been in Bridge of Spies, which I did not see. Another Spielberg movie. Like, there's like 5 Spielberg movies I haven't seen.
Also reviewed well, and no one saw it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. But, those dudes, loved them. Could have used a lot more of them. But then again, this is the Wade Watts show and not the other way around. So I get it. So we're going to move on to final thoughts.
Okay, so let's combine it all in this one. So you want to talk about favorite references. So I got to go with Mechagodzilla and Goro, of course, man. And Goro.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that was. Oh, and the alien chest burster scene. Yeah. So much happens.
Goro getting an alien chest burster. Fuck, that was my shit. So. Oh, man. Dumb. And I was a huge fan of even the practical effects of Goro in the first Mortal Kombat movie too. That was fucking awesome. Shout out to Joe Caldwell who worked on that shit. All right, so also since this was going to be probably the last time I talk about Ready Player One for a good long time, I wanted to talk about this. So I decided to get into movies because of Spielberg. It was huge in the 90s. You millennials listening to this probably don't understand because Spielberg isn't as much of a thing as it used to be, but he ruled the cinemas from pretty much 75 up until 2000. That's a good 25 years. Grew up in the 90s. I had a Spielberg, movie making Windows program way back in the day, and I had a Spielberg book. And I think, again, my memory could be off, but I believe I kind of decided to get into filmmaking while playing with Jurassic Park toys. So there's
wait a minute.
Yeah. Pretty much, and I had a camera there too. I was filming like a little Jurassic Park
we gotta
thing.
unearth that.
I want to watch that.
Yeah, it's. I need to unearth it. It probably still exists somewhere in my house. But we painted blood on his mouth too. Yeah, because the toy didn't come with blood. So anyway, so I have an attachment to Spielberg with my history with movies and stuff. But anyway, yeah. So with this movie, I think that the heart is there. I like the ending scene with how he's like, try to stay part of the real world as well. Don't only be in the oasis. And I thought that whole dialogue, I really like that scene in the book too. I think that was captured really well, and it was a great adaptation. It's missing some stuff, and let's also not forget this: a performance capture was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
The way that those characters, it's interesting because they pretty much can be in a game that's out now, is the way that they're rendered, but the performance capture is just top notch. You even get like Ben Mendelsohn's sort of like, I don't know if it's a speech impediment. The way he moves his mouth a bit, it shows through.
He's got a bit of a lisp.
Yeah, his lisp. You can see that in the 3D too. So that was really interesting. I was fine with most of the changes, of course, and no Rush scene from the book. That would have been cool if they added that. No Ultraman, but still good because they had the Gundam. Character stuff glossed over at times, but it still kind of redeems itself in the end with just how good everything else was. So, and also the movie seems to play a lot with themes like addiction to technology, learning to be selfless when it's so easy to be selfish, learning to not be afraid in life and take the jump, basically. The adventure game aspect is about learning to love the journey and not the destination, which was kind of thrown in there last second. A lot of the stuff seems to be kind of just mixed in and around and all that, but it would have been more interesting. Maybe some of that stuff could have been a little bit more. It could have been written better, I think, in some ways. It was a little bit messy in that area. But what else do I got here? I'm reading from stuff that I wrote out for this. Some of that stuff could have been better, but basically that's it. I enjoyed the movie quite a bit, and I give it 8.75 indeeds.
8.75 indeed. Final thoughts on Ready Player One. I really liked the Battletoads got a lot of love. It seemed like in the background they're just like, I fucking love Battletoads, like they just put more Battletoads in. A lot of Street Fighter characters. I really liked that the film didn't hang so much on like the 80s references and stuff that the book had chock full of, but it leaned more towards the gamer demographic, it seemed. And for what it was, I really liked that. Seeing Spawn was pretty cool, especially since there's going to be a new Spawn movie coming out. We have no fucking clue what that's going to be like yet. It was nice to see him on screen again. I'm not the hugest Spawn fan or anything, but that's like one of those iconic characters from our childhood. The DeLorean was really cool. I fucking love Back to the Future so much. I like that was his ride. I think it was also his ride in the book as well, right?
Yeah.
DeLorean I like when she called him Marty McFly or whatever after she got her bike fixed. The Akira cycle. I wish they would have showed more of the cycle on the side. It seems like they put a lot of shadow on the sides of it because you didn't really get a good look at like the stickers and stuff that Kaneda had on the bike. So there was something up with that for some reason.
True.
And it was just a bombardment of like so many things. I still want to look online and see like every little Easter egg and reference that was paid. It must have been a licensing nightmare. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed it. I would recommend people watch it, especially go see it in 3D because it's kind of built with that in mind, being like this big ride, and it's full of CG, good CG, great CG. And in terms of Spielberg, it's like there's a lot of gripes I think a lot of our generation has had with him in the last few years, even though his movies are still good and getting good reviews and stuff. He just hasn't been culturally like hitting our generation for whatever reason. But back in the day, he was the king. And I always hail Jurassic Park as being the single greatest in-theater experience I've ever had. Like the day was perfect. The weather was perfect that day. There, we were in a nice theater. It was awesome. That was one of the most joyous things I've ever experienced. And to this day, I still get fucking little butterflies when I start Jurassic Park up. It's the shit. The book's great too. But yeah, my final thoughts on the movie is, or my indeeds, I would give it probably a 7.5 indeeds, only because I went in kind of like uninterested in the subject, or not the subject matter, but like just kind of uninterested in the property itself. And it doesn't quite get that 8 yet, because I'll hold on that for like being like, that was a great movie. 8 is great,
Yeah.
So 7.5 Indeeds from old Santa Cruz pants.
Cool. Yeah, I had a lot of fun watching this movie. All the references are great. I was kind of talking to Andrew about how it was so cool seeing Spawn run in the daylight, and it makes me kind of upset that if the new Spawn is going to be like Jaws and really dark. And I was like, God, he looks so fucking cool, man. Like, I love that design. It's like, I was like, who is this character? It's like Batman and Spider-Man, and oh, he's from hell. Oh my God, I love everything about this. So that was really cool to see. The Battletoads, man. What a fucking hard game, by the way. But man, it was cool seeing them.
Yeah.
Andrew mentioned the Goro, the alien scene. I mean, I think like every reference in this, it was just like, oh my God, that reference, that thing. I love that. I love this. I want to watch all these movies now. But yeah, I had a really good time watching it. I just, like I said in the beginning, where the fuck's the rush at? Where's it at, Spielberg?
That's true. It's kind of a crime.
Not even a song. Like, you could have just a song. Come on, man. You could put their posters up. I'm sure this thing was a licensing nightmare, so maybe it's really hard to get Rush songs in your movies. Yeah. I don't know. I have no idea how
Trailer Park
any of this works.
It can't be that hard.
Yeah, but that's a Canadian show.
That's true.
It's an American movie.
Oh, Canada.
But yeah, I really liked it, and I think all of the I think we all here love Spielberg in some way. Spielberg has touched us with his films. I remember the first time I saw E.T., I was terrified of it. Spielberg, you terrified me. This little baby Maddie. I was like, what the fuck is that thing? I hate it. It looks weird. And I just remember running behind the couch. My mom recently called me and she's like, you know what I'm watching? And I was like, what? She said, I'm watching E.T. And I was like, oh yeah, that movie's great. And she's like, you were so scared of it. I was like, I know. It terrified me. She's like, it was so funny, but you were so scared, and I could not laugh. But yeah, and I love Jaws. I think Jaws still holds up to this day. I think sometimes I watch it, I'm like, oh man, that shark. But it's still there, man, because the performances from the actors are so realistic, and they believe that shark is fucking real. And I love Jaws so fucking much. Where was Jaws at? Where was he? I need him. To
his old stuff, I guess Jurassic Park.
Not a lot of water though. There wasn't a lot of water scenes.
But
he could have been flying.
Yeah, you can do anything in the Oasis. You could have thrown fucking Jaws.
Maybe he was in there actually.
He might have been, dude.
Yeah.
But just wanted to mention one of my other favorite scenes, because in the trailer you see Chucky, and I love the Chucky films. They're not great, but I love them. And I was like, man, I wonder when that scene's going to happen, because I thought it was going to be in the Mount Doom, like where they're shooting Freddy and then Jason shows up. I was like, oh, it seems like a logical place for Chucky to show up. And then when the Iron Giant H goes, hey, throw this little dude. And I was like, what little? Oh my God, this is the Chucky scene. And like Chucky just goes crazy and murders some people. And I was like, this is fantastic. I love the nods to the horror stuff with being The Shining, Freddy, Jason, Chucky. There's probably shit I missed. And even like Spawn being like some of the darker characters that I thought it was weird. I didn't expect to see those characters. And I thought, Spielberg's a genius, and there's a reason, because he wants to be like, oh, I know you like this. I know you like this too. I'm going to put it all in this movie. You want Gundams and Freddy Krueger in the same movie? Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's called Ready Player One. But yeah, Jurassic Park, same way. Love that fucking movie. The effects are still the best I've ever seen. And like Stefan said, best theater going experience. I was so excited to see. The only other movie that I was that excited.
Still my memory.
I'm sorry, but it's the same memory. It's like we're brothers.
We're brothers.
But the only other movie would be the first Turtles film, where I was just like, this is how good movies are made. I'll watch again. But yeah, I would recommend see this movie if you have any kind of nostalgia or you play video games. It's good. My Indeeds would probably be like 6.5 Indeeds, and it's only because there's no Rush. Rush might have made it a 10 out of 10 Indeeds, maybe, because that's how much I fucking love Rush. And then I would also say, if you have HBO, check out the Spielberg documentary. It's great, just like seeing his ups and downs and like when he did have failures. And I think it's pretty inspiring for filmmakers because you can ride that wave for a long time, but at some point you're going to crash. And Spielberg just kind of, jumped back up and got back at it. And even if his films aren't relevant to us now, or maybe we'll yeah, I mean, he still makes movies, and I think that's the thing. I think Spielberg is a true lover of film just because he continually makes a movie like every couple of years.
And he wants to touch you.
Yeah, well, he has. With his film, Stefan.
Show us on the dollar Uncle Stevie touched you.
Don't make this sexual. I'm talking about my love for Spielberg.
I can't help it. I'm a salacious personality.
Catch Me If You Can and Minority Report came out the same year, and those were fucking both awesome.
Yeah, Minority Report does not hold up as well as I thought it did.
Oh, really? I had to see it again. I liked it when I saw it, though.
Yeah, I did too. But I haven't seen a lot of I haven't seen Bridge of Spies. I saw the 10-10 movie. Didn't see BFG. Didn't see The Post. Haven't seen Lincoln.
I saw Lincoln. It's pretty good. It's not. It's okay. I mean, Ready Player One's obviously a lot more fun, but Lincoln is about an important part in American history, and what's that guy's name? Daniel Day-Lewis. He's acting his fucking ass off, and
the best fucking actor ever.
It's a good movie, but if you're not like in the mood for historical drama, just do not fucking watch it because you got to be in that mood for that.
We're done talking about Spielberg. Check out Ready Player One. Let us know what you think. We out.
All right, SuperHouse Pod people, listeners, that was our review of Ready Player One, directed by the young up-and-coming Steven Spielberg.
He's going places.
Yeah, pay attention to that.
Kid's got talent.
We hope you enjoyed our review of the film. We hope that if you've seen it, you either agree or disagree, whatever. Just leave us some messages in the comments of this episode. And spark a dialogue with your friends, and go see more movies and talk about movies, and certainly listen to SuperHouse Podcast. This is Stefan, and I am signing off.
This is Andrew signing off.
This is Maddie. Bye-bye.
This is Stefan from the SuperHouse Podcast. Be sure to check us out on Patreon, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and any other godforsaken social media outlet that we should be floating on.
We are basically on all social media.
Yeah, all social media.
Mainly Facebook and Twitter and Patreon.
Check out the links in the description.
We have a lot of cool goals set up on our Patreon. Like if you donate $1, you'll be able to give us a topic for us to talk about, and we'll talk about for maybe an hour or more. Who knows how long it'll take?
And that's pretty tight.
That's the coolest thing.
Wait, we're on the internet?
That's pretty good.
We can make money.
What?
If you donate $1,000, you get full frontal nudes.
We haven't set that up, but it's a possibility. You give us $1,000, who knows what'll happen?
Check us out.
I'll do that. I'll do that.
You get to go on a date with one of us for $10,000.
But you pay for everything.
You get to have your way with Maddie for $20,000.
I'll give you Joey for a weekend.
For $30,000, we'll help you hide a body. Check out our Patreon.
SuperHouse Gigolo Project 2017.
Links in the description.
2018.
Links in the description.